Earlier this week, the U.S. Supreme Court turned down a request by a group fighting to stop a proposed copper mine in an area east of Superior that's considered a sacred Native American site. To learn more, we welcome Deborah Kroll. She's the Indigenous Affairs reporter at the Arizona Republic and azcentral.com. It's good to see you again. How long have you been working this story?
I've been working this story for about 8 years.
Yeah, it is a long-standing suit. Okay, the proposed copper mine, what are we talking about here?
The proposed copper mine is in the second largest remaining ores of copper discovered here on the continent. They're thinking there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 billion pounds of copper underneath Oak Flat Campground. And we know that there has been mining in that area for more than 100 years until the Eisenhower administration issued a mining ban. It was reiterated by the Nixon administration, but when they found that ore body, a British-Australian company called Resolution wanted to figure out a way to get to that copper because, there's billions and billions of dollars worth of copper down there.
And so there was a land swap involved, correct?
Yes. Resolution had bought about 5,000 acres of environmentally sensitive land and wanted to exchange that to the Forest Service for the 2,200 acres of the Oak Flat Campground. They ran afoul of both Native activists, environmentalists, and recreationists who all value Oak Flat and didn't want anything to happen to it. But in the dark of night in December 2014, a group of congressmen led by Senator McCain stuck a midnight rider onto a must-pass defense bill. And we all know defense bills have to pass. So that put the land swap into play. And the Apaches and their allies have been fighting it ever since.
And this is considered, has it always been considered sacred land to the Apaches?
It has been considered sacred land to at least one band of Apaches. I want to make that clear, that there are some Apache people who don't really care either way. Other Apaches just want to have a job. But this one particular band, which is led by Wensler Nosey, the former chairman of the San Carlos Apache tribe, and other Apache people from other Apache bands do consider this a sacred place. And it's been archaeology and anthropology has shown that there has been ceremonies going on there. There's burials, there's various other assets.
And that was the crux of this particular lawsuit by Apache Stronghold, I guess, which is a kind of a grassroots group that brought the suit. It's basically what they're saying is we're talking First Amendment rights, we're talking religious rights here. And the Supreme Court said, what? No, we're not going to listen to that. What's that all about?
Back in the 1980s, there was a Supreme Court decision known as Ling. In fact, former Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor was heavily involved in that, where a group of Native people wanted to save a sacred grove of redwoods from having a logging road go through it. And the argument was that they didn't think, the Supreme Court at the time didn't think that the Native people's right to religion would be restricted, such as the situation that led to the Religious Freedom Restoration Act and several other laws that restored the right of Native people to practice their religion. So several other courts have been relying on that decision ever since. But there is a growing number. We looked at some of the papers and dissent papers from the Ninth Circuit, which also ruled against Apache Stronghold, like a 6-5 vote.
Yes.
And they're all saying, maybe we need to revisit this.
Well, and the Supreme Court, Justice Gorsuch, who is no flaming liberal here at all, his quote was, "This is a grievous mistake. Consequences will reverberate for generations." Did the Supreme Court give a reason for not hearing this?
No, they gave no reason. The only thing that we know is Gorsuch's dissent, which we thought was kind of unusual that Thomas concurred with it.
So Thomas did concur with the dissent?
He concurred with the dissent. Right at the top it says concurring.
And again, Apache Stronghold, you've lost these series of lower court rulings. The Supreme Court's not listening to it right now. Are there other, what happens next with this proposed, this is a massive mine project.
It's a huge mine project. Resolution has already sunk hundreds of millions of dollars into it in preparation for just starting the process. It'll be 40 to 60 years before all the copper that they can get out is out. It's probably going to be a minimum of 10 to 15 years before they even start bringing any copper out of the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and I understand from your reporting, block cave mining will be used, and that means humongous craters, correct?
Yes, yes. Think of it as an underground open pit mine, because they're going to tunnel underneath the ore body, and they're going to leave pillars up. And then there will be another tunnel that is drilled to a crushing site. So once they get it all undermined, they're going to start knocking down the pillars, which is going to cascade
I see.
yeah. And eventually what will be left is about a 2-mile wide, 1,000-foot deep crater.
Wow. So what was held up will be knocked down, and that crater will. Okay, real quickly, are there other lawsuits? Is this over? This is not a done deal, is it?
It's not a done deal. There's 2 other lawsuits in the wings, one by the San Carlos Apache tribe and one by a coalition of environmentalists. The San Carlos Apache tribe has filed for an emergency injunction while their suit is adjudicated, because they're fearing that once the environmental impact statement is issued, probably in mid-June, that opens up a 60-day window, any time of which they can hand the deed over to Resolution, and they just want a chance. They want their day in court.
And real quickly, are they going with the environmental concerns, or because the religious concerns, the First Amendment? We just saw what happened there as far as the Supreme Court is concerned. Where are they going? What's their trend?
They're going with environmental and water issues. They're worried that the big crater is going to collapse a major aquifer that serves most of eastern and central Arizona, the Apache Tuff.
Last question here. Has the copper company, have they changed the plans? Have they listened to those who are against this, those who are at least concerned? Has this changed over the years?
They have made some pretty major concessions. You know, they knocked the footprint down from 2,400 acres to 2,200 acres. They've done a lot of environmental mitigation, because one of the big concerns were the Emery oak groves. Emery oaks are under a lot of pressure from climate change, so they've been working there. They've been working to do a lot of the cultural assessments and saving what they can. But the thing is, with a land-based religion, once the land is gone, so is the religious power. So I don't think there's any way they can get around that. Although they seem to be trying to do. They're trying to do something.
Yeah, concessions have been made,
yes.
But you still got a long way to go. Deb Carl, again, great reporting on this, especially over the years. You've been doing a great job on this. Thanks so much for sharing your story.
Well, thanks for having me on again.
You bet.